Imagine this. You're standing in front of her. You're not touching her, not flirting, not forcing anything. You're simply having a conversation. Yet in the quiet space between each word, she begins to feel something she can't quite explain. Most men never understand why a woman can become captivated by someone's voice instead of their face, or by someone's words instead of their appearance. That's because attraction doesn't begin with beauty. It begins with the feeling of being understood. And when the right compliment is delivered in the right way, it doesn't merely feed her ego, it reaches straight into her heart. Welcome to Psychology of Desire. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe, because what you're about to discover goes far beyond ordinary dating advice. This is about emotional strategy, psychological connection, and the subtle ability to make a woman experience feelings she simply can't ignore. Here's the reality. Every woman has heard countless empty compliments. You're beautiful. Nice smile. Wow, you look amazing. They're nothing more than background noise. The moment they're spoken, they begin to disappear. But there are certain compliments, the rare kind, that don't fade away. They stay with her. Hours later, they echo in her thoughts. They make her replay your voice when she's alone, long after the conversation has ended. That's where attraction truly begins, not in the moment itself, but in the echo it leaves behind. Real compliments aren't about describing how she looks. They're about making her feel truly seen. Women don't fall because they're admired. They fall because they're recognized. When a man notices something that everyone else overlooks, he opens a doorway into her emotions. And once you've stepped through that doorway, she'll never look at you quite the same again. Before you ever offer a compliment, understand something important. Women are experts at reading emotional signals. They sense intention immediately. If you're complimenting her simply to impress her, she'll hear it in your tone. If you're hoping for approval, she'll feel it in your energy. But if your compliment comes from honestly noticing something rare, genuine, and almost hidden, that's when her defenses begin to lower. Not because she chooses to, but because authenticity has a way of slipping past the mind's natural defenses. Picture this. She's telling you a story about her life, her dreams, or something deeply meaningful to her. Most men are busy staring at her lips or admiring her hair, but you're listening. You notice how her voice softens whenever she speaks about something she truly loves. You see the light in her eyes when she remembers a beautiful memory. You recognize the laugh she gives, not because something is funny, but because she's trying to hide how much it actually matters. Then, when it's your turn to speak, you don't compliment her appearance, you compliment her soul. Here's the secret. A woman doesn't fall for the man who constantly reminds her she's beautiful. She falls for the man who makes her forget every moment she ever questioned her own worth. And the first compliment capable of doing that is the one that points out something about herself she never imagined you'd notice. Not her beauty, not her fashion, not her looks, but her presence, her depth, her heart. Women spend their lives surrounded by men who only notice what's visible. The man who notices what's underneath becomes the one she can't stop thinking about. So, before we move into the very first compliment, remember this. You're not trying to make her like you. You're creating an emotional experience. You're giving her a feeling she never expected to have. And once a woman experiences something powerful in your presence, she'll naturally seek the source of that feeling, even if she doesn't realize she's doing it. The first compliment that quietly makes a woman fall is the one that speaks to her identity. Not the person she appears to be, but the person she truly is. Every woman carries two versions of herself. One is shown to the world, the other stays hidden. The moment a man notices that hidden version, she feels exposed but in the most irresistible way. Imagine she's smiling, chatting, maybe sharing a story she believes isn't important. While everyone else only hears the words, you hear what's underneath them. You simply say, "You know something I noticed? You care." Even when you don't say it out loud, you feel things deeply. She won't expect those words, not from you, not from anyone, because that compliment isn't focused on her appearance. It reaches her emotional identity. It tells her that you notice the kindness she protects, the strength hidden behind her smile, and the sensitivity she rarely admits to anyone. Most men compliment what's obvious. You compliment what's invisible. And here's the remarkable part. She'll replay those words later. She'll lie awake at night hearing them again. Deep inside, every woman wants to be understood far more than she wants to be admired. That's the psychology behind it. Human attraction grows through emotional validation. When someone recognizes the part of us we believe nobody notices, they gain access to our trust. And once trust opens, attraction quietly follows behind it like a shadow.